With Thanksgiving travel in full swing, many passengers often find themselves spending more money than they had planned. It's called junk fees, and lawmakers on Capitol Hill are gearing up to fight the airline industry over the practice. The CEO of one of the country's largest healthcare companies was shot and killed in New York City in what police call a targeted attack. Authorities say 50-year-old Brian Thompson was shot in his back and leg outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan this morning. NYPD's commissioner says the shooter appeared to be waiting outside the hotel and waited several minutes before approaching Thompson. City officials are releasing more information about the Maine water break that left thousands of businesses and homes without water earlier this week. The water break happened around 7 o'clock on Monday night. As Fox 28's Amy Diaz tells us, crews worked day and night to make the repairs.
News 13's Jack Cole was over there in St. George Island this morning and shows us what he saw as he trekked around. Good morning.
We've spent the past couple of hours in western Franklin County tracking the storm as it made its way past us. And if you're taking a look right now, looks like we're pretty close to being out of it. With that being said, it's pretty easy to tell that we are still experiencing some pretty high winds. We're on St. George Island, which yesterday had mandatory evacuations. And if you go to the end of some of these streets, water is crashing in the side of it, which is leading to some minimal flooding. But the way the houses are built, it's really not leading to any damage. We were able to speak to some people who said that even though it was mandatory, they decided to stay here and ride it out. And it looks like their luck kind of worked their way, as everything seems to be fine, at least for the people that we spoke to. We also spoke to A.J. Smith, the Franklin County Sheriff, and he said that so far on this side of the county, he hasn't seen any reports of any injuries or any deaths. A Bay County jury took less than an hour today to convict a local man of attempted murder. 52-year-old Lucas Rivera Carmona fired 4 shots through the outside wall of his ex-wife's Macedonia apartment complex unit back on August 17th of 2023. Authorities say the ex-wife, her new boyfriend, and a child were all inside at the time of the shooting. One of the bullets hit the boyfriend. Rivera Carmona was upset about the relationship and had threatened the couple the day prior. Panama City police found the gun he used wrapped in a shirt outside of his home. Jurors found Rivera Carmona guilty of attempted first-degree murder with a firearm, as well as several other charges. He'll be sentenced on December 16th. Bay County residents will have the opportunity to see and comment on the DOT's 5-year plan at the Bay County TPO meeting Monday, December 9th at the Bay County Transit Office on Cone Avenue. It looks like the thunderstorm knew that you were doing the weather right now.
Yeah, it was right over top.
That was the only time I've heard it go off all day, was right there. So we'll see what happens the next time around. Well, thanks, Ross. Local and federal authorities say 19 men are now behind bars where they cannot prey on children. They were arrested during a 4-day sexual predator sting called Operation Safe Summer. As Fox 28's Bailey Nichols tells us, all of the suspects are accused of possession of child pornography or trying to meet children for sex. It's been over 5 years since Hurricane Michael, and one Bay County school is still lying in the wake of its own damage. Why the mayor of Springfield says it's time something ought to be done about it. Meanwhile, President Biden signed a bill into law strengthening the oversight of federal prisons. The Federal Prison Oversight Act was introduced in 2022 after multiple bipartisan investigations into misconduct within the system. It passed the House in May and passed in the Senate earlier this month. I also like the Peyton Manning shout out.
Yeah, I saw it said Omaha and I was like,
As a Broncos fan, I think
right.
Peyton Manning, maybe once a week. Sometimes I just think about it and I'm like, you know
I
what?
doubt he's watching, but maybe he searches on the internet for his name and this clip will come up and he'll be like,
I hope he does.
Thanks,
He signed
Ross.
one of my hats when I was 13.
Well, there you go.
Thanks, Peyton. And coming up, confusion is turning into outrage as lawmakers demand answers for the series of unexplained drone sightings. What the White House has to say and why Congress says that's not enough. The event actually just got underway here at 6 p.m. And while commissioners are expected to attend, it's actually the residents that are going to be moderating and doing most of the talking. Back in October, the city presenting 4 concepts as part of an open house. According to the residents, concept 1 and 3 were the ones that they preferred most. Those are the ones they'll be showing tonight. Since then, engineers have been creating more developed concepts, and residents aren't only able to share their thoughts, but they're also going to be able to present photos, PowerPoints, and documents highlighting their thoughts. A last-minute addition to Tuesday's commission agenda proved to be explosive. Commissioner Brian Granger questioned Mayor Michael Rowan about his conduct surrounding the Beach Drive Pathway project. Plans call for a 1.5-mile pedestrian path along the shoreline on West Beach Drive. Commissioners are for it, but but residents in Rowan are against it. Opponents have suggested the city ask the state to reappropriate the $8 million to a different project, but commissioners voted against that request. Tuesday morning, they accused Rowan of going behind their backs and submitting paperwork that would reassign the funding to the MLK Rec Center project. City officials discovered the document Monday after Rowan sent a copy from his personal email to his government email.
The problem, it seems, is that you went to Mayor or Representative Griffith's office to file an act on behalf of the city without coming to the commission first. That's what it seems like.
3 days before the form became public record, Senator Jay Trumbull sent Rowan an email confirming the money can't be moved without the city requesting state approval, and that even then, it would probably not be approved. But Rowan says 2 residents approached him about the paperwork.
They actually filled the form out and sent it to me and asked them if I would meet them at Representative Griffith's office so we could discuss the form.
Rowan claims he met with one resident who filled out the form on November 13th, a day before commissioners were scheduled to vote on the state request issue. Rowan claims he took that form to the state office where they made corrections.
Creating a government document like that was ultimately something that would have had to come from our staff, our attorney's office, and our city manager's office. So the fact that it was created without anyone's knowledge and without those things was concerning, and rightfully so.
When the city attorney asked for that copy, Rowan said it was gone.
I took the form, stuck it in an envelope, and I've looked for it, as Mr. Zimmerman said. I've looked for it several times. I can't find it.
Commissioners were quick to show their concern, alleging fraud.
You say you knew that the document was false when you took it.
That's true.
So why would you take a false document to a state office? I don't understand.
Rowan defended himself and said the allegations aren't as serious as the commission claims, which led to one heated exchange.
Why don't you just go ahead and spank me, okay?
Come on, we got our thing. I think you would enjoy it, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Granger made a motion to send the matter to the Florida Ethics Commission, but the commission backed off that idea and voted instead to get an outside legal opinion from Tallahassee law firm Allen, Norton & Blue as to how they should move forward. City Attorney Nevin Zimmerman will report the results to commissioners at their next regular meeting.
The important thing is to really find out what's actually going on, which is what ultimately is going to happen in the next 2 weeks, is really to try to figure out, did someone break a law? Did someone not break a law? Did somebody just cross a line? I don't know.
In Panama City, Jack Hull, News 13 Panhandle Strong. Monday morning, Congressman Neil Dunn touring the neighborhoods of Bayou George, the latest and final stop in his visit after last week's destructive tornado.
I was up in Jackson County, and they said, well, you need to go down to Bayou George because there's some real serious damage down there.
Dunn spoke to local leaders and residents who have felt the direct impact of the storm.
We want to make sure everybody knows that the local, state, and federal resources are actively trying to help in and do what we can to fill in those gaps that these people are facing.
Everywhere you look, there's debris piled up along the shoulders of the streets. Bay County Commissioner Doug Moore says it's a result of residents jumping at any chance to lend a neighborly hand.
They did a great job of looking after and taking care of each other and just assisting their neighbors that were damaged by the tornado.
County officials estimate that around 172 residences have endured some form of damage. The total cost of those damages are yet to be determined.
There are certain thresholds that you meet to get FEMA reimbursement for disaster supplementals and things like that. We're tabulating all of that dollar damage now.
Dunn hopes to have that total cost next week. In the meantime, they continue to urge residents to file insurance claims and be wary of bad actors, including those who have already been arrested for burglary in the Grand Lagoon neighborhood.
Do not come into our community and try to take advantage of our folks.
In Bay County, Jack Hull, News 13 Panhandle Strong. For Robert Kent Green, the past 10 months has been anything but easy. Green spent decades serving the Bay County community.
He spent 30 years in the community industry, working in the dairy business, going door to door and store to store throughout this community, making sure that everybody had milk and eggs and ice cream.
His presence was so large that not even his kids could walk down the street without being recognized.
Kent told them that they couldn't go anywhere in Bay County and not be, if they did something wrong, he would find out about it because he was the Dairy Fresh milkman.
After 30 years, Green opened his own business, an ice cream shop in St. Andrews. Then on January 4th, the lives of the Green family changed forever. Around 9 p.m. that night, Green was driving home on Beck Avenue. As he drove through the intersection of Beck and 19th Street, he was T-boned by a car that ran the red light.
What happened to Kent is an absolute tragedy.
Kathy knew something was wrong when Kent didn't come home.
I kept calling his phone and I knew something was wrong, so I called and called and called, and finally the Panama City Police Department answered and said that he had been in an accident and was taken to the hospital.
Police say the driver was 41-year-old Vanessa Moore. Police say Moore had been drinking at Los Antojitos just a few blocks away, and her blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit at the time of the crash. The Greens are suing Moore and Los Antojitos and the restaurant's owner, Tapa Properties, claiming a violation of the Florida dram shop law. The lawsuit claims Moore was a known alcoholic and restaurant workers did nothing to stop her.
They could have taken away her keys, they could have gotten her an Uber, they could have done what they were supposed to do initially, was recognize that she should have never been served in the first place. But instead they turned their back on their community, they turned their back on your community, on Kent, on Kathy, on the whole family, and it is their fault that Vanessa Moore then got in her car, drunkenly ran through a red light, and crashed into Kent.
The aftermath has destroyed the Green family.
He's the one that, when his family has a get-together, they wait on him to get there. And so it's been an adjustment for everybody because they call him and want to talk to him and he can't. And we keep trying to get him to do more and be more, and he can't.
They had to close the ice cream shop. Kent now requires 24-hour care.
Kent is he's our glue for our family.
Moore was arrested on July 7th and charged with DUI with body harm. Tapa Properties closed Los Antojitos on July 24th, citing personnel issues. The building is still closed and no signs point to a reopening. The Greens say someone needs to be accountable.
Do something. Nothing isn't an option.
In Panama City, Jack Hull, News 13 Panhandle Strong.